now call to order the regular meeting of the Leominster Conservation Commission for July 25th, 2017. We have a couple of continued hearings pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 131, Section 40 as amended. There will be a public meeting to consider an RDA by Jameson Van Dyke regarding the determination of a stream being classified as perennial or intermittent. Address is Pierce Street, map 412, lot 10. Is there anybody representing the applicant? Yes, sir.
All graduates, grads engineering. We filed, we prepared the RDA, and I know you spoke about it last month at your meeting. Commission, I know, wanted to go out and look at it, I believe. We've been out there a couple times. Stream's still flowing. We submitted evidence from a lot owner that the stream dries up every year. It hasn't yet. Drainage area is very small. It's 0.19 square miles, which is below the accuracy confidence level of the Stream Stats program. Generally, you get up around a square mile, it works pretty good. You get below that, your error starts getting astronomical. I did include in the RDAs the Stream Stats calcs, and there was some conflicting information. The probability of perennial was higher than it would be for intermittent, but yet the D99 flow was lower than it would be for perennial. So there's conflicting information there. So, you know, the technical stuff is great, and it works on a lot of these situations, but the drainage area is just too small. So, you know, the main test for a perennial intermittent stream is 4 days dry during the year. And we haven't seen it yet, but we submitted evidence to that effect. And I'd like the commission to consider the written evidence from the property owner that has seen it year after year. Otherwise, I mean, that's all we can do at this point. We could continue it, and I guess I would prefer a continuance over a determination that, well, we think it's perennial based on observing it today. It's just at the time, my client is, you know, he's got an offer pending on the lot. We did the soil testing, topo of it. He's got some money invested, and the owner has put the piece back on the market because of this filing. And I told him, I don't want you buying something there's going to be a problem with. I mean, you know, not that specifics really matter for this lot, but the when it was created, the entrance from the road. Hold this right way here. So you can see the street down here, and here's the stream. So the 100-foot, if it's in the riverfront, is what you have to cross to get up into the site to get outside of the 100. So, you know, it could be problematic. So that's the reason we thought best to file and ask now rather than to buy it and find out later we have a problem.
All right.
So if I can answer any questions, I'd be happy to.
Did any commission members have a chance to go out and look at the site between our last meeting and this meeting?
I saw it once, it was flowing at the time.
It was flowing at the time, okay. I chose not to go out there because the only time I did have available, it was right after a heavy rain, so I kind of figured it might be flowing.
We actually went out there that day too.
I didn't even go, I just figured it probably would be flowing, so it...
Can I just mention, and I'm not, either way, I have an intermittent brook behind my house, and it dries up usually 2 months a year. It's completely dry. It has not dried up this year at all. Like, it's been flowing the entire time. So I get where you're coming from. Do you know what I mean? If it is an intermittent brook, this year might not be a good year for it. You know what I mean? just to point that out, that mine every year dries up,
Mhm.
every year, and this year it's been flowing the entire time, so.
Just one comment on, one of the things that I have a hard time with is, I understand that there's a history of things drying up. We've had projects where, people came in and they used to ice skate on the pond that isn't there anymore. You know what I mean? So there's certain, things change over time. My personal opinion is until we see it dry up and it can be documented, if the maps are indicating that it's a perennial stream, as much as it's not that I discount, the homeowner hasn't seen it dry up, that's just not, that's not, we want it to be documented by a wetland scientist or an engineer, somebody with experience, something we can witness, something that can be documented that way. Otherwise, we're just going on something that, somebody trying to sell the property is is telling us, and, it's not someone who is necessarily trained in that.
Is it considered a stream right now? Is that what it's?
It's a perennial stream on the
Correct.
map.
What it is, correct.
That, my thought is, once we see it, intermittent, once it can be documented, then I have no problem with it. That's just my,
Yeah, I mean, I think I would agree with that, seeing it hasn't dried up, and the one commission member did happen to take a thing and it was flowing, I would have to agree that it's, because it is as listed as a perennial stream, unless we can document it by either a commission member or an engineer or something like that.
All right, I would respectfully request that can we leave this on the docket the next month?
We can do that.
And if the written record is true, I would expect we'd see it dry by then.
Yeah. No, we can continue that, that's fine, if that's your
Okay.
wishes, sure.
All right, let's do that then.
All right. Do I have a motion to continue to the next meeting?
Chairman, I make the motion that we continue this public meeting with our next meeting in August.
Second? All in favor?
What's the date on that, Marco?
It's gonna be August 8th. So it's only a couple weeks.
Are we doing 6 o'clock?
Then I think we should probably wait beyond that.
So we'd be looking at, we're only doing one meeting in August.
Okay,
So it'd bump us into September.
that's fine.
And so our meeting in September would be September 12th. So you'd have, a month and a couple weeks to,
Well, I'll take the next meeting. I'll just request a continuance of,
you could do it by email.
yeah. Yeah, let's do that then. All right, thank you.
Thank you. Next continued hearing pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 131, Section 40 as amended, there'd be a public meeting considering RDA by the City of Leominster Recreation Department regarding the construction of a pedestrian footbridge over a wetland. Area 160 Chestnut Street, map 516, lot 10. Anybody here representing the applicant?
I'll represent the applicant. Mr. O'Brien said last meeting he wouldn't be attending this meeting. So you should all have the RDA in front of you. This is a footbridge over a parcel of land owned by the Conservation Commission. Street address is 160 Chestnut Street. It's abutting Barrett Park. And ultimately, this is a new trail system to connect to some existing trails that encompass the Barrett Park land up there.
Okay.
So we have a wetland finger essentially that is proposing a proposed pedestrian footbridge that's to be constructed out of pressure treated wood with pressure treated sills. They do not propose any supports within the wetland, so it's just going to straddle the wetland system. Well, that's what we got. If you all had a chance to get out to the site, give you kind of a directions on how to get there. If not, I had emailed you some pictures of what it looks like. Anybody got any thoughts on it?
Did anybody go to the site? I did not, unfortunately. I did review the pictures. Comments, questions?
I mean, I've seen them, a lot of the work that they've done, and, you know, especially with something like this, that there's gonna be no, it's not invasive at all, they're not gonna be digging, so. Or maybe just scratching the surface to level, you know, but, I don't really see a problem with this.
Anyone else? I would agree. The work I've seen them do in the past has been fine, so.
And it's actually part of a workshop, so we could actually go to a workshop then.
Is it?
See
Oh,
if we may.
they're gonna show people how to do it?
Yeah.
and all that? Oh, okay.
Oh.
Cool, hopefully day's sunny. All right, if there's no further questions. Do I have any objection to closing the public hearing? Seeing no objections, I now declare the public hearing closed. Do I have a recommendation, Mr. Bengrazi?
Yeah, I recommend a negative determination of applicability with a -2 determination. That the work described in the request is within an area subject to protection under the Act, but will not remove, fill, dredge, or alter that area. Therefore, said work does not require the filing of a notice of intent.
All right, do I have a motion with Michael's recommendations or anything else?
Mr. Chairman, make a motion that we issue a negative determination based on Marco's recommendations.
Second.
Second.
All in favor? Very good. All right, let's move on to our next official hearing, 6:05. Pursuant to Mass General Law, Section 130, Chapter 131, Section 40, as amended, there will be a public hearing to consider notice of intent by Rockwell Roofing for the construction of a 3,585 square foot storage building and parking lot resurfacing. Work is proposed within the 100-foot linear riparian zone, 100-foot wetland buffer, and 100-year floodplain associated with the Moose-Knock Brook. Address 83 Cotton Street, map 6, lot 11. Do we have someone representing the applicants?
Jamie Rowe for Women and Davis Associates. This is going to be a very quick public hearing. I'm going to recommend continuance. The abutters were not notified correctly, so we're going to re-notify them, and we request to be on the next meeting.
Very good. Do I have a motion to continue?
It's not even
No,
open yet.
okay, that's what I kind of figured, so. Okay.
We'll open it next
We'll open it next one, thanks. All right, our 6:10 meeting. Pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 131, Section 40 as amended, there'll be a public hearing to consider a notice of intent by Tesla Incorporated to redevelop an existing parking area to an electric car charging station. Work proposed within a 100-year floodplain of the Moose-Knock Brook, address 98 Sac Boulevard, map 567, lot 12. Is there someone representing the applicant?
Hello again, Jamie Rowe, Whitman and Bingham Associates. This is a 24 by 36 plan set of what you have reduced to 11 by 17. So maybe if this is a little easier, please pass it around and you guys can take a look at that as well. First order of business. You want the green cards or copies, Franklin?
Both, actually.
Both. Well, Whitman and Bingham needs to keep one copy.
Could you keep a copy?
We have a copy here. We have the original.
I'll take the green cards. Thank you, sir.
So in this particular situation, it's a series of honest mistakes that led us to this evening's public hearing. I understand the Conservation Commission issued an enforcement order to Whitney Field and Tesla Motors because work started in a parking lot located at the mall of Whitney Field. Do you remember the two restaurant pads you guys approved not too long ago? Well, this is directly in front of it. It's fenced off. I'm sure everybody saw the site. Site work started without an order of conditions. I can tell you honestly that the city of Leominster did issue a building permit for this 1 month prior to you issuing your enforcement order. So I think there was all good intentions. Tesla and their engineers came to the city, had some conversations, and I think they didn't understand all of the conversations that took place. And when they got their building permit, they did not understand they had to file with the Conservation Commission and with the Planning Board. That's happening now, we're making sure that happens. Therefore, we filed a notice of intent to bring this project back into compliance. In this particular situation, this work is definitely located within the 100-year floodplain. The resource area that you're protecting is bordering land subject to flooding. It has a 100-year floodplain elevation of 299. Anything at that elevation or below is in the 100-year floodplain. Everything at that elevation and above is not. So this project definitely is. In this particular situation, I know there is a plan view, a site plan view, basically showing approximately 1,200 to 1,500 square feet of disturbance. And part of that disturbance, they are displacing 11.5 cubic yards of area in the 100-year floodplain. Part of the regulations, the performance standards basically state you need to provide compensatory flood storage for this volume displaced. One page has I think Bradford has it open to it. It has a grading plan and it has a profile basically showing where the compensatory flood storage is going to take place. You can see a plan view and profile view. The calculations that came back to us are exact. So if you have a recommendation, you'd like to have additional compensatory flood storage, we don't have a problem with that, but this, the area, the flood volume displaced and the flood volume, compensatory flood volume is exactly the same in this particular situation. It's going to take place in a landscaped area abutting the market basket, in between the site and the market basket. I think one of the, I heard everybody talking about before the meeting started, one of the Tesla's goals is you should be able to drive cross-country, east coast to west coast, and basically charge all the way. And that's their goal. They're going to try to accomplish that goal from east to west. And they pick this site as a charging station. Therefore, we're here for order of conditions and answer any questions you have.
Any questions? Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. I just have a question with respect to the filling and compensatory storage. The performance standards require that you show that at 1 foot intervals, and the compensatory and the fill has to be at the same intervals. You're showing a 2 foot range here. Can you break that down so that you're showing that your fill at each foot interval is matching your compensatory cut?
Yep, that's fine. There's no issues with that whatsoever. If that's what you require, that's what we'll do. I will tell you, standard practice throughout Massachusetts, I've asked to do half a foot intervals, 1 foot, 2 foot. So if the practice is in this commission to go a foot, happy to.
Okay.
Yep.
Currently where you're proposing that's, you said it's landscape, that's an island, if I remember correctly? Where you gonna put
Yes.
it? Okay.
Yep, it's a landscape slope.
It's currently landscape now.
Yep.
And you're just
And,
gonna,
yeah, pre-construction, it's landscaped.
yeah.
Post-construction, it's going to be landscaped as well. Yep.
Okay.
Just
So
a
you
little lower.
So you're just taking it out and,
Scooping it up.
yep.
Yep.
Okay.
And then the surface treatment that you see today will be the surface treatment
And
you
you
see
see,
yep,
okay.
post-construction.
Any other commission members' questions, comments? All right, open up to the audience. Anybody in the audience like to speak on this notice of intent? Second time? Third and final time? Do I have any objection of closing the public hearing? Yes, sir.
I would like to see the floodplain breakdown
Before we close it, okay. That's fine.
Is it appropriate to recommend that the order conditions be conditioned upon submitting what we did submit in a different form at 1 foot intervals? We're talking at 297 and 299 interval.
Are you confident that you've met it based on?
We know we
this?
have.
You don't have to, if you're comfortable that you don't have to redesign where you cut and fill in,
Yep.
then I'm okay with that.
Okay, yeah.
You sure?
Yeah.
Okay, if you're comfortable, then I will close the public hearing. Mr. Van Grazi, do you have a recommendation, sir?
Yes, I do. I recommend a standard order of conditions for DEP file number 199-1048 with a standard boilerplate in the following added conditions. Well, these aren't really applicable. 24-hour written or verbal notice to conservation agent prior to start of work to allow for inspection of erosion controls. No stockpiles within 100 feet of the Minoostock Brook. And construction area to be maintained and swept clean of dirt debris.
Hearing those recommendations, do I have a motion?
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we issue an order of conditions based on the recommendations that we just heard, with the additional recommendation that the applicant provide us an as-built plan for all areas filled, and showing also the compensatory storage in the floodplain resource area.
Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
All in favor? Thank you, sir.
Thank you. You're all set. Everybody have a great night.
Thank you.
See you at the next meeting.
All right. Moving on to our regular meeting. Certificates of compliance. I've done. Do we have any extension permits?
None.
Any communications?
None.
Has anybody or everybody been able to review the minutes that Michael presented to us from June 27th, April 25th, and March 28th? Yes.
I haven't reviewed, I've only seen the April and March.
Okay. Anybody
I've
else?
seen April and March, but I was absent for the June one anyway.
Okay. Have you reviewed them both?
I've reviewed all of them, I just want to make sure I can vote on all of them.
Yeah, I guess we're gonna have to figure out who can vote on what here. I remember there was some issues about who was here and,
I thought I had missed the March one, but I didn't. But I did miss the June one. I know that, so.
okay.
I think I was at the, I'm trying to think of June 27th if I was in there. I think I was at all. I don't think I was.
Sorry, I should have wrote it down before I.
That's all right.
Yeah, but I know I haven't looked at that one.
I'm all set, I know.
Okay. You all set? All right.
You can still vote
I
on
think
it.
we can vote because
still
I
vote.
know I've read them all and reviewed them all, so. All right, do I have a motion for the March 28th, 2017 minutes?
Mr. Chairman, I make the motion that we approve the March minutes.
Do I have a second? All in favor? Very good. Do I have a motion for the April 25th, 2017 minutes?
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion for the April minutes.
Do I have a second? Yes, sir. All in favor? And do I have a motion for the June 27th, 2017 minutes?
Chairman, I make a motion that we approve the June 27th, 2017 minutes.
Do I have a second?
I can't vote on that.
June 22nd. So
Oh,
I-
sorry.
All right. All in favor? We don't have a quorum.
All
All
right.
right, we'll hold those to the, okay. We'll hold those to the next meeting, Marco, if you can just put them on there.
Sure.
Did you get them, do you know, or you just haven't reviewed them?
I haven't been good with my email lately, so
Okay.
I'm not even sure if I have that one. I know I've seen the old ones.
I'll resend it.
Okay,
Just
I'm
resend
sure
it.
it's in, if it's been sent, I have it, so.
Oh, I'll resend it to everybody anyway.
Yeah.
So Dan, are the first two okay? Or
First two are good,
Okay,
yeah. Yeah, we'll just do that one on the next one. Any new business?
None.
Old business, 767 Willard Street driveway.
Yep. So the city council had tabled this item on their agenda last night. They tabled it for Mr. King and his attorney to meet with Dean, Mayor Mazzarella.
Mr. King is the homeowner?
Correct.
Okay.
To discuss their options. So if that's what Mr. King wants to do, then I think that we should allow them time to meet and discuss, what's going on over there.
That's fine. I actually went by there. I just happened to be driving by and I kind of stopped and took a look. And that's fine. We'll give him what he needs for time.
Great.
Enforcement update. Oop,
Mr. Chair, there was one thing that we brought up at one of the last meetings was the collapsed culvert at Leominster High School.
Okay.
It's kind of a safety concern on top of
I kind of remember that, yes.
the environmental issue. It's completely collapsed on like the left-hand side, and the debris and trash are just.
Yeah, I notified the facilities manager about that. They have a problem with resources to fix it, apparently. So I've also referred it to DPW.
Yeah. It's just there's going to be youth football there, and there's going to be little kids.
Yeah. Do we know who's to maintain it? Is it DPW? Is it
It's school department.
Okay.
Yeah. We could require them to maybe put a metal plate over it or something.
I don't know if that's not going to stop the erosion.
It's not going to stop the erosion, but I had suggested to Anthony, Mr. Skibarassi, I should say, to fill it with some riprap stone, and for the time being, so nobody puts a foot through it, breaks a
That's
leg.
probably a good idea. Yeah.
So that's why I recommended to him. He said he would do that. As far as a long-term fix, they're gonna have to scrape somebody together to get out there. I guess the school department doesn't have the resources to really fix it.
Well, if it was a homeowner, we would ask them, the homeowner, to fix it.
Yeah, right.
I mean, it's I mean,
Unfortunately, I haven't seen
that
that.
drains right into Slack Brook, which makes its way
Right.
into Rockwell Pond.
So right now it's is it a culvert or catch basin?
It's a catch basin.
And it's collapsed.
It's collapsed, yeah. Yeah, there's all, you can see everything's just washing around it instead of going through the top, so there's a lot of,
So if we fill it with
Yeah.
riprap, that'll help the safety issue, but it doesn't help any treatment that catch
Right.
basin may.
right.
Have you seen it, Marco?
Yeah.
Did you take a picture of it by any chance? Or?
Yeah, Larry actually.
I have it, I don't know how, can you use your phone at a meeting? What's the technical? I don't wanna.
Where is it at the high school?
By the CTE, if you go around like the vocational end,
Okay.
around, if you go around to the back of the building,
Yeah.
there's a speed bump there.
Okay.
And where the speed bump is where,
And that drains directly into Slack Brook. Is
Yeah.
what you're saying, yeah.
yeah.
Right, so whatever photo you pull up, Larry, just email it to Marco
Okay.
later so that he has it for the record.
Okay.
And we're all set there.
Yeah.
I took that one last night, so
Okay.
I have one in the daylight, but.
I mean, I don't mind having riprap for safety concerns, that's fine, but that doesn't fix it long term. Because I'm sure that catch basin's deep sump or something, you know what I mean?
that a barrel base that's in that photo too, or?
Yeah,
It
it's, I think
had-
it's
it
one of
had
the barrel,
something on it,
the
okay.
rubber barrel things that they put on.
Yeah, first I thought it was a tire.
Yeah,
So, is there curbing anywhere around this? How's the water typically directed to this basin? I mean, that may be the bigger issue.
yeah, it was a design
They,
flaw.
they can fill in this hole, but then you're just gonna be pushing that water and everything else is gonna start eroding around it. It's just gonna
Right.
keep snowballing. Okay.
Yeah, so I'll email it.
Thanks.
So where is the brook in relation to that catch basin?
It goes down Kingman Drive and empties into the brook there.
But in terms of where the water though, if the water's going behind that double catch basin, great.
Yeah,
Where is it flowing from that?
From there, it goes to the, out near the parking lot, where the parking lot and the road meet. And then from there,
So it's flowing back onto the parking lot somewhere else, or it's?
oh no, underground, you mean?
No, it's not going in the catch basin based on what that photo shows.
Yeah, so then it's going down,
So
it's
it's
just
going
going down into Kingman Drive.
Okay, all right.
Because I don't think, there's no other catch basins between there and Kingman Drive.
So it's not sheeting off the parking lot there into that vegetated area instead, or?
I wouldn't say so.
It
No.
doesn't, the way the
Follow
slope
it.
goes, it's,
Okay.
I
We
don't.
go down Kingman.
Go to, this catch basin is on King.
That catch basin's, I don't think is placed in an appropriate spot anyway. It sort of seems like it's outside of the parking area.
Yeah, I mean, it looks
Kind
like it's lost some material there, but it doesn't look like it's a big erosive continual concern like you're gonna see in a construction site. I think they just need to do some good housekeeping and just fix what's there. I'm not too concerned based on that. Maybe if I saw the site, I think differently.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I don't,
I'll
Why don't you
open up
follow
some dialogue with the school department, the facilities manager.
I mean, it can't be that much to fix, I'm guessing
No,
it's not a huge expense.
I mean, even if you like,
Yeah,
putting riprap in is fine. I think that'll help stabilize it, that'll help,
That's my thoughts on it.
safety-wise, you know what I mean? Just make sure that no more erosion, no more sediment gets, at least goes through the catch basin system, you know? If you could update us at the next meeting.
Sure thing.
Mr. Rise.
You got it.
Anything else?
No.
Okay. Back to enforcement, 723 Willard Street.
Yep, 723 Willard Street. I had taken the recommendation of the commission from last meeting, and I had sent the updated letter to the city solicitor to send to Mr. Dandini. I have not gotten a confirmation back from the city solicitor on that.
That has been sent or it has been drafted? Okay.
So that's where it's at right now. I'll check back with them this week and see where they're at.
Okay. Definitely keep us, let us know. I'd like to see by the next meeting if it has not been sent, maybe the reason why it hasn't been sent.
Sure.
375 Harvard Street.
Yep, so the last meeting, we had accepted Mr. Damas's request for a 2-month extension past the deadline we gave him of March 31st. So he's looking at July 31st for his, in order to have him provide us with a restoration plan.
Have you had any communications with him?
I have a letter here that I had sent via certified mail with return receipt. And, we got it on July 5th. So, but before that, I had a phone conversation with him, so he knows the deadline that we gave him.
So I'm assuming he will be here at our next August 8th meeting?
I sure hope so. So,
Okay. Is that what that letter states?
yes.
To be with plan in hand?
Yep, I said a new deadline to supply the Conservation Commission with the aforementioned restoration plan is July 31st, 2017. This is the last extension that will be given. You must continue communication with the Conservation Commission, updating us on progress towards these requests.
If you get anything between July 31st and August 8th, can you just send it to us so we have some time to review it
Sure.
prior to the meeting?
Will do.
Thank you, sir.
Yep.
Emergency certs, Winooski Brook.
Yeah, so I had updated this emergency certification, just some language in there. Ultimately, we're requesting that the DPW submit a plan to the Conservation Commission within, I haven't put how many days, but maybe we could discuss that, a certain amount of days to detailing how the performance standards for resource area alteration will be met.
Okay.
Additionally, we're supposed to schedule a site walk to go visit this. DPW is only available to meet between 7 and 3 o'clock. So if we can make that work, that'd be great. If we cannot, I could try and prod them a little bit more and see if they can accommodate the time.
That could be difficult.
I could potentially do a 7 o'clock in the morning, 3 in the afternoon, I highly doubt, but I could put off my day for
It's generous of you.
Yeah, well,
Yeah, I think a
it's
couple.
nice to be able to do that.
Well, I think a couple members might be able to do it, but there's a
Yeah.
lot of members that
It's
might
gonna be
not
tough,
be able
yeah.
to.
Yeah.
I know that was kind of one of our focuses, to get kind of a group there so we can discuss fixes and some maintenance. You have a comment, Mr. Stone?
Sure. I think really the main reason for getting out there wasn't to come up with the fix at this point. It was just to alleviate the additional, it doesn't meet the performance standards for a number of reasons, but there are some things you can do to make it better quickly, and that's do some good housekeeping within the stream channel. And I also recommended to Marco that he talk to DPW about some of the sedimentation deltas around the culvert there that have built up and are potentially eroding near the footings of those walls and may cause problems with the other walls as well. That's what I saw just from quickly looking at it one morning on my way to work. I'd be happy to meet out there with DPW and go over my thoughts, but ultimately I'd like to get this certificate issued too, just so that they get the ball rolling on getting us a plan on how they are going to meet the performance standards. What's in there, my concern, and this happens with municipalities everywhere, what's temporary becomes permanent, and what's
Right.
temporary there doesn't meet the performance standards at the moment. I think we need to give them time to get the fix. I know everybody's got budget concerns right now,
Right.
but they can at least come up with a plan in the meantime.
Okay. So if we ask Marco to potentially set up a meeting, maybe first thing at 7 a.m., maybe over the next couple weeks, and see how many commission members,
I'm available.
and see if we can get that done, and that might be the easiest thing. I don't know what time people go to work and stuff, but it's probably the easiest thing first thing in the morning.
I'll throw some dates out for it.
If people can make it,
Yeah.
that'll be good, and, you know.
Alright.
Yeah, because I know you were talking about basically, lack of a better term, cleaning it up and getting some
Yeah.
maintenance done to it, so.
Are we okay with voting to issue this now, though, and put in a deadline for them to come up with the plan?
We can do that.
I'm just concerned about an emergency certificate
Just
sitting
sitting
out there
open
for
for-
months. It's, because it is gonna get reviewed once we issue it.
Right.
And I don't want that question coming back, why has this been,
Sitting
Delayed
open for a
somewhere,
while,
yeah.
yeah. I mean, we can issue the certificate, over the next 2 weeks before the next meeting, hopefully we can get something, so we can at least get on site and start the process so we can get that give them as much time to get that plan and budget in place for a permanent fix, you know?
I'm not concerned about having them give us the budget info on that immediately, as far as, yeah.
But I'm just saying,
Yeah.
it'll keep the ball rolling.
Right.
If we have that meeting sooner than later, that, you know, so we can get on site and get some of that done, so. Any other comments or questions, or? Do I have a motion to issue a certificate for this Moose Brook emergency start?
Make a motion to issue the emergency certification certificate for the Minnesota Brook retaining wall.
Do I have a second? All in favor? Thank you. Yeah, if you could just keep us in the loop, Marco, and
Sure thing.
7 a.m. probably a good time.
Okay.
Bring the coffee, will you?
Yeah.
Well, I actually don't drink coffee, so bring some orange tea. Do we have any project updates from anybody? No? Budget, any update?
I didn't have those numbers to provide today. But we are starting a new fiscal year for everybody to know. Well, we have started. the
July
fiscal year.
1st, correct?
Yeah, July 1st.
Okay.
So FY18. And I'll continue to document the deposits into the wetland account as I have been.
Okay.
And just keep adding on to the confirmation that was provided two meetings ago from comptroller.
Okay.
So fiscal year, we ended what we were supposed to be at?
Yeah.
Okay.
So we ended fiscal year 17 very well.
Agents report,
I have nothing to report.
chairman's report, I have nothing. Our next meeting will be August 8th, 2017. And is there anything else to discuss?
Sorry, the deadline for meeting the August 8th meeting will be July 27th at noon.
Very good, anything else? With that, this meeting is adjourned.